With the provisions allowed by Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, the February 15th, 2022 public meeting of the Master Plan Implementation Committee will be held remotely. However, to view this meeting in progress, please go to facebook.com/LakeCAM. You do not need a Facebook account to view this meeting. This meeting will be recorded and available to be viewed at a later date at LakeCAM.tv. So we have 6 agenda items this evening. We'll jump right into it. Item number 1, I'm sorry, before we do that, I'm sorry, we have to take roll call.
Yep.
Oh, I do it all the time. My apologies. All right, so roll call. Rodney Dixon, present.
Garbutt here.
Chamberlain here.
Marshall here.
Jack Lynch here.
All right, great.
Ari Sky here.
Thank you. And we have a guest this evening, Mr. Mark Resnick, who's our town planner. So
Hello.
welcome.
Thank you.
Very welcome. So procedurally, now we can proceed to the agenda. So we're going to review and vote to approve the meeting minutes for the December 21st, 2021 and the January 18th, 2022 dates. Have you all had the opportunity to review those?
Yep.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the December 21st, 2021 meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion.
All in favor? Aye. Rodney Dixon, aye.
Garbutt, aye.
Chamberlain, aye.
Jack Lynch, aye.
Patrick Marshall abstaining.
Ari Sky, aye.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the January 18th, 2022 meeting?
So moved, Marshall.
Dancina.
Who seconded the first set of minutes? I couldn't hear.
Oh, you're back.
Several did. I did. I'm rather so.
All right, I'll put Ari.
I did. Oh,
Okay, there you go. That's fine too.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
And who made
Okay.
this motion?
I did.
Patrick, okay.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Rodney Dixon, aye.
Garbutt, aye.
Chamberlain, aye.
Jack Lynch, aye.
Marshall, aye.
Sky, aye.
Thank you. Motion passes unanimously to approve the meeting minutes from December 21st of 2021 and January 18th of 2022. Item agenda number 2, meet with town planner Mark Resnick to discuss the master plan implementation chart. So we had on our meeting with Mr. Resnick, we had discussed the next steps. We had agreed to have Mr. Resnick review the plan and, or I should say, review the matrix and come up with a plan to move forward. And we agreed to have Mr. Resnick back today to discuss that. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Resnick, please.
Okay, hello, everybody. So I reviewed the matrix and I kind of wrote down what I'm doing, what I'm planning on doing, and kind of where it falls within the matrix.
Okay.
So the first 3 main tasks that I'm accomplishing, which I discussed with the committee last time, was 3 major zoning rewrites or updates, or in one case, a new bylaw, which all were identified in the master plan chart here. So the first one would be on page 1, where it talks about site plan review design guidelines. So as part of just a more comprehensive rewrite of the site plan review design site plan review bylaw itself, we're incorporating some site design and architectural design guidelines, just very basic New England style things that design that we would incorporate in to site plan review, and primarily it would be applicable in the business zone, business district. We also are incorporating design standards as well into, so not just submit a drainage plan, but what does that plan need to show? What standard does it need to meet? So, that bylaw has been reviewed by the planning board at their last two meetings. At their next meeting next week, a week from Thursday, they'll be reviewing it one more time. There'll be the new section on just the architecturals, which will be new and a couple little edits. They will then probably review it one more time before submission of zoning articles to the Board of Selectmen on I believe it's March 14th is when the deadline is. And that is on page 1. Also on page 1 is a sign bylaw update. So we have basically have rewritten and added standards and certain limitations. We haven't made it totally, you have to have like carved New England style wood signs, externally illuminated. But we have set certain limitations on certain types of signs, some additional size requirements. We prohibited other types of signs that we feel would be not desirable to have to kind of keep the character of the town that we have. Most of the signs that you do see as you drive along would still conform, or they have received special permits that still could be issued under the regulations. So we've tried to work within what we have, but try and prohibit things that you really probably don't want to see in the future that can happen with signs from time to time. The third major thing is open space and residential district bylaw. So I've written a OSRD bylaw. Again, it's been reviewed by the board a couple times. I don't expect any major rewrites, and we've consulted with the Board of Health on that because of the reduced lot sizes to make sure that they can still get a septic system, in some cases a septic system and a well on the reduced lots, and how the wordings can still allow reduced lots but meet health and safety, which is a primary concern if you don't have access to sewer. So that's identified on page 2 and at least on page 7 as well. So those are the 3 main things that I started working on immediately, and they're moving toward their conclusion in the next few weeks, and then they'll be submitted to the selectmen. The next 2 things that I'm working on are the next thing that I'm working on is identified on page 5, 6, 7, or variations thereof, and that's the open space and recreation plan. So the open space and recreation plans needs to get completed in order to apply for grants, whether it's land acquisition, park improvements and equipment, or trail construction, sidewalks. So so this plan makes you, if you don't have it, you're ineligible for a whole series of grants. So the Open Space Committee has been working on this, and they actually are almost complete with the first 4 chapters. I attended their meeting last week, at which time they were just doing some final edits to those chapters, and those are a lot of the discussion of existing conditions and topography and wildlife and what we have as far as in the community. We're now to the point where the inventory of existing properties and existing parks and the evaluation of their condition and what's needed. And so that's kind of the next chapter. And that's right toward the end of, there's that and a couple other little sections, and then that's the conclusion of the plan. So I've spoke with the chairman of the Parks Commission, and I'll be attending their meeting on Thursday to kind of coordinate and try and bring that section, that component of the plan into the rest, to the open space component. And so that's a project that will probably take right through the spring, probably into May, June is where it'll be. And that's the other thing that I haven't started on, but I would expect that I'll meet and try and kind of get up to speed on what they're doing, because it is in progress, would be the Historic Commission. Apparently they're working on some evaluation of historic properties in the community. So I will try and set up some meetings after I get through the town meeting submission in March. Try and set up to get on their next agenda and kind of find out where they are in that process, and also learn about what we have in the community for historic properties, because aside from seeing a few buildings around as I take a drive around, I don't really know what else is around. And so that's identified on page 5. There's a lot of things in various pages. I didn't write them down here about housing. So we're going to have to be involved in housing as it relates to the Lakeville being an MBTA commuter rail community. And that in order to continue to be eligible for either 9 or 11 different grant programs, we have to kind of be in compliance with that. And there's several steps to eventually changing some zoning to allow some high density residential within half a mile of our the train station.
May I stop you there for one quick second? This
Sure.
is a question that I had asked Representative Oral and Senator Rodericks about. I understand that the T station in Lakeville, that stop is being moved to Middleborough.
Right.
One of the questions I asked was, when that happens,
Mm-hmm.
will that land revert to Lakeville's possession? And I wasn't clear, but what I heard was no, that land would stay with the MBTA, and technically it would be considered that property where we could put high density housing within a half a mile of that location versus a half a mile from the Middleborough location. And to be clear, Lakeville residents are one of the things are very clear about Lakeville residents and high density housing is it's incompatible or not desirable for the master plan. Not saying that it's not wanted or needed, rather, if it's going to be, it should be concentrated to a particular area. And that's what I wanted clarification on, is the location of the MBTA. When it moves to Middleborough, is it a half a mile from Middleborough or half a mile from Lakeville? Does anyone know that answer?
Well, I
Peter, go
believe,
ahead.
yeah, I believe it would be half a mile from the Middleborough train station. Like the area of the center of the dot would move from Middleborough to Lakeville, but I mean, the other way around, from Lakeville to Middleborough. But we would still be within that circle, and we would still have to comply with that. You know, there's the latest set of guidance documents that were issued at the end of December. And then there'll be other guidance that'll come out as they process, you know, the questions from communities and concerns communities have. But, you know, I think that's an area where many of the housing items that are mentioned in the master plan can be located in some way, in some form, whether it's through a mixed use overlay district, or it's, allowing some high density, like if you could revert the old train station back and allow some more high density units there, or there's some other parcels that could be redeveloped as well. So again, we'll probably be looking at applying for a grant to do a kind of a study of that whole area. And one of the main focuses of that study would be housing and trying to incorporate some mixed uses so we can still have some commercial as well. So, but that's, like I said, more of a longer term project.
Yeah, appreciate that. Rita, you had a question?
And Ari can correct me if anything's changed, but when the selectmen heard that Middleborough was going to have their train station, they went to the state to ask them to deed our train station to the town so we could develop commercial and more housing.
That's
But we
correct,
don't-
but that got turned back.
Right,
They still want to have that station as part of their
Right.
infrastructure. I think for the Cape Flyer, I think it goes on that way, and I think phase 2 may bring maybe some involvement there as well. So,
our other concern was we get a huge 40S reimbursement for the 40R projects.
right,
And the state guaranteed that we would continue to get those
right,
because they're going to run a shuttle. People can still park.
right. That's correct.
Middleborough is going to have a small parking area, I believe.
Yeah.
So they're going to shuttle people from the Lakeville station to the
Right.
Middleborough.
And I've had every indication that that's continuing, that we're gonna get the 40S, so, yeah.
All right, so that's why the property is not going to revert to Lakeville. Is that correct? So the property's still going to be MBTA, Ari, even though
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
even
yeah.
though the physical station is going away, the
The
parking
station's
lot.
gonna be there. The station's gonna stay. It's just not gonna be used as much. Or
Oh,
used at
okay,
all.
so
Yeah.
what's that?
It's not gonna be, I believe the Cape Flyer is gonna go through there. I don't know whether it's gonna stop there or not, but it'll be, obviously the station will be used a lot less, but the station's still gonna be there. It's not being dismantled or anything.
All right, so I'm not trying to be a pain, but my concern is that if the Cape Flyer just simply uses the tracks to go by there and not stop, that's one thing. If the Cape Flyer is going to have a stop in Lakeville, that's another. That would constitute a stop.
Right. I don't believe it does right now, but I'm just, the reason I'm hedging a bit, Ron, is because, there's phase 2 and we don't know what, 10 years from now, what the plan is, but under the current
Right.
configuration for phase 1, no, it does not.
Okay,
It's not, yeah.
all right, thank you.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Mr. Resnick.
Okay, so that's a long-term project. It'll take a year or 2 years to kind of work through a plan, and get a grant to actually put the plan together, work with consultants, identify the scope of work, and then actually, do the work and have community involvement and kind of come up with an overall master plan. So that's a long-term project, but it's one of the sections that's in the middle is all the various housing things. So I think that's one of the key ways of addressing a lot of the housing concerns is through that area and doing some planning for that there. The next kind of sections that apply to my work have to do with the bike and pedestrian goals that are stated in the plan, and those are on page 10 and page 11. And again, that's kind of a longer term thing. Some of it may be incorporated in or be worked on after the open space plans, such as, let's say, mountain bike trails or hiking trails, and trying to identify all of them and coordinate and and try and preserve some, and that kind of, or improve them as the case may be. So there's some recommendations for doing some sort of complete street evaluation of part of sidewalks, but again, that's a longer term process. Either work with the regional planning agency or a consultant to get that accomplished. And then the other thing that is on page 10, it relates to subdivision rules and regs, and specifically it relates to bike and pedestrian and being included as a concern within the subdivision design. But just also to let you know, this summer and fall, or summer-ish, spring, summer, I'm not exactly sure, but I'll be working with the planning board on trying to revise the subdivision rules and regs. So there will be kind of that task, which would be kind of after this first big bunch of sections of the zoning, we'll kind of tackle that next, the planning board. So those are the most of the items that are in the matrix that mention the planner and those topics. So
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Turn it over to the committee. Do we have any questions? We have a question from Rita. Go ahead, Rita.
Well, I just wanted to commend Mark. He's hit the ground running. And those first 3 items, I think we're all happy.
Yes.
But my question was, when the planning board finalizes what they're going to send to the Board of Selectmen for town meeting, do you mind copying the master plan committee on those 3?
sure.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other questions or comments for Mr. Resnick? Okay. Well, hearing none, thank you very much for your time. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you for joining the meeting. And thank you for all your hard work. And like Rita said, hitting the ground running. And we really appreciate that. We look forward to that email.
Okay. All
Much
right.
appreciated.
We'll
Thank
talk to you later. Yep.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye
Mark.
now.
Thanks.
Okay, so we'll move forward to the agenda item 3, which is the next scheduled meeting to confirm is for March 15th of 2022. Still to be determined if it's going to be virtual or in person. Ari, do you have any indication? I know the mask mandates for schools is lifting February 28th, I believe. I'm not sure about the mask mandates for the rest of the state, but do you have any?
So not specifically, we're starting to loosen a little bit. I think, if the things continue to trend, then may be possible to have the one in person. I guess my question, I'd ask, what do we envision the agenda holding at this point for that meeting, given where we are with everything? I don't really doesn't need to have a meeting if we don't have an agenda for it.
Yeah, I think we had secured the dates just in case. Rita, is that correct? We wanted to just at least secure the date, correct?
Right.
All right.
'Cause
So go ahead.
I was just going to say, Mark had said he was even going to meet. I thought we should meet with Historical Commission, but it seems like that's on Mark's.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's other parts, Ari, do you think?
I think, okay, so
Anything?
my recommendation would be, if you want to meet with Mark once these articles are put together prior to the town meeting, that might be useful. So maybe look at the April meeting.
Okay.
So
That's a suggestion.
go ahead.
That's what I was saying. That's just a suggestion.
Okay.
I agree, Rodney, because March 14th, we're not really going to have a chance to look at anything. It has to
Right.
be Selectmen on
Yeah,
March
it's
14th.
right. Correct. Yeah. And I just want to make sure that these meetings are valuable and they're productive. So we can, if we need to take a vote procedurally to reschedule the March or cancel, the March meeting and reschedule to April.
Yeah.
we can do that.
Yeah, I
Do
think
we
we
need-
should.
All right,
Okay. I'll move that. I'll move that.
okay. So
I'll
we have,
second.
we have a motion, we have it seconded. All in favor, aye. Rodney Dixon, aye.
Well, should we set that date? What's the third Tuesday? in
April 19th.
Thank you. So do we need to procedurally cancel first and then reschedule, or we can just?
Yeah,
do
I
it
have a
in one motion?
I have a comment about the 19th too, if that's okay. So let's, when we get, let's cancel this one first and talk about the,
Okay.
Okay,
Who seconded?
I did. Patrick.
Patrick.
It's 319, right?
no,
No,
15.
15.
Yeah.
How about that?
okay, and then April 19th.
So did we all vote? Garbutt, aye?
Let's vote first to cancel, which we did. And then we can discuss April 19th. Would now be the time to discuss
Yeah.
April 19th. Ari, go ahead, please.
So I'm going to be out of town for Passover, which starts on so it goes over that weekend. I'll be just coming back into town on the 19th. So I would respectfully request if the committee's willing to meet more like the 20th or the 21st.
But then other people, Patrick and Joe and Jack, I don't know what they have for meetings.
I don't know either. That's why I'm respectfully requesting.
Could-
The
could
only
we-
one that,
Could we meet on the 19th
for me.
with a quorum and without,
Sure.
I prefer to have Ari there, but
Yeah,
if the majority of people are available, I prefer to have the meeting and then bring Ari up to speed.
Yeah, I don't know what Mark's plan is for Passover as well. He and I are, in a similar boat on that.
Okay,
So I'm not sure what his plan is either, but I could certainly find out whether he's available.
okay.
Patrick, can you meet on a Wednesday?
and on a Wednesday, I work till 8 o'clock, but Thursday would be fine for the most part if my board meeting gets out on the 21st. Especially if we're still doing Zoom.
Yeah.
So Jack, you meet on Thursdays, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna have a meeting that day or not, at night. At this point,
Yeah, 12th is okay too, by the way. That's a Tuesday before.
That's Concom.
I'm usually meeting on
Oh, it's
Tuesday.
Concom? Yeah, you're right.
I'm not available on the 12th.
Yeah, no, my bad. Sorry about that. You're right.
So do we want us to just do the 19th? Would that be the best date then at this point?
Okay.
Or do
Well,
we want to just scrap April and go to May? I mean, I'm flexible.
I don't know if you want to meet before town meeting. Town meeting's on the 16th of May.
Yeah, I would like to meet before town meeting.
Yeah, I would too.
Well, that means if before town meeting is the gating factor, then we could, you could bump later too.
Right, I was just gonna say that we could go to
25th, well, 25th is a board meeting.
the
So we can do
26th.
6th, yeah, that'll work for me.
So 26 work for everyone?
I will not be available that day. Wareham Town Meeting, I'm sure goes more than one night, so.
Okay,
But that
well,
doesn't,
that's early. That's an early town meeting, April 26th, really.
well, they're meeting April 25th, but as a
Wow.
department, I have to be there, and I've never heard of it not going less
Yeah.
than at least 2 nights. I don't know, Joe, you can.
Yeah, 2 nights is good.
Wareham is renowned for that, actually, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah, boy, that's an early town
but go
meeting.
ahead and set the meeting too if you need to. I mean, don't.
right, if we have a quorum, we should be able to do it. And the same with you, Patrick, we could update you to, to the meeting, of course.
Yeah.
Is everyone amenable to that? Are you comfortable with it?
I'm fine.
I am.
Okay, so do we need to have a motion for the 26th, Rita, procedurally?
I don't believe we voted on canceling the March meeting. We did the
Yeah.
motion and the second.
Doesn't the chairman have the ability to set the calendar?
But I
Yeah.
don't think we have to do
Yeah.
votes on it at
Oh,
all.
okay, that's what I'm asking procedurally. I'm just,
No. I
Yeah,
think
no,
you-
you just set the date.
okay, I'll
Heavy's
exercise.
the head that wears the crown, Rodney.
Ed, Rodney, what's the date? Give us the date.
Okay, I decree the date to be Tuesday, April 26th
Beautiful.
at 7 PM.
Perfect.
Well, by then we might be meeting in person.
Oh,
And,
I sure hope so.
and
Yes.
would make it for 6, right? Instead of 7,
Um,
Ari?
Yeah, it's, you know what, I'm already being enough of a diva. You guys decide.
Planning board is now meeting on, in person.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it easier to schedule Zoom and reschedule to person if needed, or vice versa?
You're far enough out. I think you can probably talk to Kristen and get the police station.
Okay. Well,
Right, I'll do that.
Yeah,
Yes,
give her a call, Rita. If you have a problem, then,
Yep.
but I think you're probably okay.
okay. So
And
we'll confirm for April 9th, the April date, in person at the Lakeville Police Station.
at
Yeah.
7 o'clock, Or- do we want 6? I'm fine with either time.
Could do 6:30.
Let's compromise. Yeah, let's do 6:30. I think the last time I did 6 o'clock in person, it's just,
Too tight.
it was very difficult
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
to rearrange the schedule to accommodate that time. So 6:30 is a good compromise.
Yep.
Okay,
And that's a
Great.
Tuesday?
Yes,
that's
So-
affirmative. Yes.
So
Tuesday the
Joe,
26th.
will Concom be meeting on that Tuesday?
That the second or fourth Tuesday,
4th.
we might be meeting. We don't know. We never know until
Yeah.
basically the last minute when filings come in.
And if you don't have any filings, then you won't meet.
Correct.
Concom meets at 7, right, Joe?
Yes.
Oh, we got plenty of time. 30
Squeeze
minutes
it
with
in.
me at the helm.
Yeah, squeeze it in.
Rodney will work for that one.
Yeah, if Rodney can't get you through a meeting,
Wait, Ronnie runs this train. Are you kidding me? This is the Shinkansen of committee meetings.
I try.
So Rodney, there's no March meeting or there is one?
No
no,
March,
Mark.
no
Okay.
March meeting. It's canceled.
This April 26th.
April
Yeah.
26th, 6:30 PM at the
Okay,
Lakeville Police Station, if we can secure the reservation.
okay.
See, all this debate put us over my 30-minute mark. We're at 7:32 now, so
Okay. Joe, does Concom meet at the police station?
We have been meeting there when we
Okay.
were meeting in person.
Yeah, okay, so you'd be there anyways.
You got me.
all right, fantastic. Okay, so let's move forward. Is there any new business? Remind the members to complete the conflict. Oh, yes, new business. Reminder to the members to complete the Conflict of Interest Law online training program and to submit the certificate of completion to the town clerk. You were
Have all of you done that?
Yep, I have.
duly notified.
I never can remember. It seems like I'm always doing it and I always say the same thing.
Always looks the same.
It always looks the same and I sure wish the people in Boston who tell us to do that would abide by it.
Yeah,
Truth. All right, so for those, if not, we'll get it done sooner rather than later, please.
I just
All
did
right.
9.
All right, moving forward, any old business? Hearing none. Any other business that may properly come before the meeting? I do have a question. I will be brief. I was asked about the property at 79 and 18 that they've taken the house down. I understand the property's been sold. It will be developed. It's there's wild rumors flying around on social media and what it may or may not be. But irrespective of what it's going to be, will it comply with the Route 79 construction, the reconfiguration? The way I understood the project was that corner was going to be reconfigured. This is prior to that property being sold and the building demolished. Are there any plans in place now for the building that will comply with the original Route 79 redesign. Go ahead, Rita.
Oh, and Joe too. I believe it's a small, a real estate office is gonna go in there, Joe.
Yes,
A small, commercial building.
All
And
right,
I
is it 2 stories?
Yes,
don't know.
All right,
yes.
okay. Will it be
It-
put on
that
the
was-
property? Will it be situated on the property as not to negatively affect the redesign? Or was the redesign based on a building going there anyway?
I think the owner, did see the relocation plan because they're going to have a turning lane there. So I think the state is gonna have to take a small portion of the property. Ari, I'm not sure if that's changed.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any change, Rita.
Okay,
I could find
Okay.
out.
Yeah, I just happened to be driving by there the other day and I was in discussion with someone else who had driven, and a question was posed to me that I was unable to answer, so thank you for that. It's greatly appreciated. That's all I had. Okay. All righty, so do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Patrick.
Second,
Okay.
Garrett, second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Rodney Dixon, aye.
Garrett, I.
Chamberlain, aye.
Marshall, I.
Jack Lynch, aye.
Ari Sky, aye.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for your time.